I work for an organization called the International Council on Mining and Metals, ICMM, and I'm going to briefly introduce you to that organization and also speak to you about why we think there's value in mining with principles. So ICMM, it's a membership organization which we think is a little bit different from others. You can see up there our vision and our mission, but to put it in sort of very plain language, ICMM is a membership organization with the sole aim of helping its members to perform, to improve their sustainability performance. So we don't lobby, we don't get involved in kind of contentious political issues. We bring together members to share and learn from each other and from external participants and to help them address some of the pressing sustainability issues facing the industry. So how do we work? We're a CEO-led organization. This gives us a huge amount of credibility, both when speaking externally and also internally within our member organizations. So the CEOs of our members are essentially the board. We call them the council of our organization. Our members are, give or take, the world's biggest mining companies. So it's the likes of BHP, Rio Tinto, Anglo American, Glencore, Codelco, also a few smaller ones as well, but our requirements, which I'll get onto in just a second, are quite rigorous, and some of the smaller companies, I think it's fair to say, struggle to meet them, and that's kind of fair enough. That being said, although we are a member organization, we do have a remit to try and improve the performance of industry more generally. So as a result, everything we do in terms of outputs, in terms of reports, and in terms of guidance, in terms of best practice, is freely available on the web, on our website. So we do try and ensure that all companies get some benefit from what we're doing. And what are we doing? So we have experts here in London who run across the whole gamut of the kind of sustainable development range. So things like water, governance, climate change, community relations, health and safety, materials stewardship. These are all issues in which we are working on a daily basis. Just here you can see the breadth of our membership. So 27 member companies, 900 plus sites, 60 countries. What I haven't mentioned so far is that we also have association members. So we have, I think, 36 now association members, both commodity and national. These range from the International Copper Association to the Ghana Chamber of Mines, the Mining Association of Canada. So when we produce, say, good practice guidance on water stewardship, it basically, by them being our members, we're able to reach down into areas of the industry that we otherwise can't get to. So here is a little video, which I'm hoping is going to work. It's always a slight tech issue.
People have been mining the Earth's resources for well over 50,000 years, digging deep to provide the precious minerals, metals and fuels that drive our world. Staggeringly, every single item that we interact with on a day-to-day basis is derived from mining. Think about the shirt on your back. How did it get to the shop? How was it manufactured? How was the cotton harvested, planted and cared for? Whether it's the products themselves, how we transport them, or the very processes used to create them, Everything depends on mining. But as mining disturbs the ecology of our landscape, both above and below the ground, it affects the animals, plants, and people that call it home. We need to work together to sustain the delicate balance of meeting our needs without compromising the planet and the potential of future generations. That means minimizing negative impacts on the environment through better design and management of mine sites. By finding efficiencies in water management and water recycling, using reed beds for filtering and restoring diverted rivers, planting deep-rooted trees to stabilize soil erosion and actively reclaiming landscapes. Companies working alongside communities are also helping to build infrastructure, bring electricity and running water to villages, help local businesses to grow, and future generations to learn. We stand for sustainable and safe mining, as well as ethical business practices and transparency across the mining and metals industry. We stand for mining with principles.
So what does mining with principles actually mean to us? So to be an ICMM member, you have to sign up to our Sustainable Development Framework. As you can see there are 10 principles that we require all of our members to sign up to. And they basically are what we consider to sort of be the broad range of sustainable development issues: ethical business and sound governance, environmental performance, engagement and transparent reporting. And these principles we require our members to report to on an annual basis in their sustainability reports. In addition to those principles, we have these position statements here, these 8 position statements. And these are literally policy statements that the CEOs of our member companies have signed up to. So they commit each company to whatever these statements specifically say. So for instance, the one on position statement on mining and protected areas, that forbids any member to mine in a World Heritage Site. So when we had our members sign up to that, it was a fairly groundbreaking topic. And while we didn't actually have any members at the time who were mining in World Heritage Sites, we certainly had members who were exploring in World Heritage Sites. So that was something that took quite a long time. All of these position statements take quite a long time, as you can probably imagine, to agree on, because they are kind of firm commitments that that our members are held to. Sorry, I'll just stay on this for a second. So this is essentially corporate level reporting. However, one of the things that we've heard over certainly the last 5 years, if not the last 5 to 10 years, is, well, what about at the mine site level? That's where kind of the rubber hits the road. How do we know what you're doing there? And we've heard this from NGOs, we've heard this from investors, we've heard this from end customers, so the likes of Apple, the likes of BMW. They are coming to us and they're coming to our members, and they're saying, you tell us that you have no child labor in the supply chain, but we are getting questions from our customers on a regular basis, and we can't say with 100% certainty that you have no child labor in your supply chain. So how can you prove it to us? So over the last year, our CEOs have mandated ICMM to come up with 38 principles. These 38 principles are largely mine site based, and they are going to be required of every single ICMM member at every single mine site. And not only will they be requirements, but every single member will have to be assured on them. So there is a level of proof. That assurance will be partly self-assurance and partly third-party assurance. And in that way, ICMM members can hold themselves out to broader society and say, look, this is as good as it gets in terms of proof that we are acting in a sustainable manner. These principles fit fairly nicely. Sorry, these requirements fit fairly nicely under the 10 principles that we have already. So the slide you saw previously, let me just go back to it here. They all, this hasn't changed. We still believe this is the basic framework for sustainable development in the industry. And so where we're at the moment is those 38 largely site-based requirements were part of a public consultation, which some of you may have even been a part of. That closed about a month ago. We had over 250 responses to that consultation, and as a result, some of the requirements that we put out there will be strengthened. There were some quite strong objections to some of the things that we said, and we have listened, and we're going to go back and revise them. So as of next year, our members will be implementing these at site level, and the whole validation framework is not entirely, well, it's not just not entirely, it's still up in the air, and we're still trying to work out what it will actually look like. But there will be some sort of validation in the high-risk areas, probably annually. The low-risk areas, perhaps not every single mine site will be validated annually, but it will be, as I say, a mixture of first-party and third-party. Just to wrap up, because I see I've got about 6 minutes left, we believe that the mining with principles, these principles that I've just laid out, provide greater value to host governments, to investors, to NGOs, to local communities, to the staff of our member companies, but also through to the wider world through the SDGs. So you can see here we've mapped the SDGs, and this is what kind of globally the sustainable development conversation is looking towards, is the SDGs, and this is what obviously the UN is looking to push on all governments. So we do think that industry has a responsibility to play its part, and we think that through these principles, mining and metals can play its part. Thank you very much.